Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lisa DeMauro, and I am joined by my husband, Chris DeMauro, and we are the Talking Gravesend podcast, the podcast that is dedicated to celebrating William DeMayo's streaming series, Gravesend. Today, we are here to talk about Season 2, Episode 6. It's a South Philly thing.
Yeah, I'm excited, Lisa. This is a really fun episode filled with characters you already love and a couple of new ones that we get to look and get to dive into. Philadelphia is really featured in this show, and it really looks really good.
I can't wait to go there.
So let's jump in. What do you say?
Yes.
Yeah, wait a minute. Can't wait to go there?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that we're going to be in Philadelphia?
We are going to be in Philadelphia in May.
That's right. We're going to be going to the Rim Cafe to see Renee. We're going to make the world's largest creme brulee, or at least be a part of it.
Yes, yes.
All right. Anyway, let's just jump into the episode.
All right. So the scene opens to a van and a Mustang pulling up.
That's right.
Yes, and they pull up on a Lincoln Continental.
Yeah, it's a Mustang. It's a red Mustang 5.0, and that's where we see Johnny Mad Dog is in the passenger seat. And then there's another van that blocks in the Lincoln Continental.
Yes. Well, and then shots are fired.
Yep.
And one of the mob bosses is murdered, Alfonso.
Yeah, so that was Johnny Mad Dog, and when he whispered to Benny when they were up on the pigeon coop roof, this is obviously what they were talking about. So
this is what he was saying.
And Mad Dog comes out with the shotgun, freaking, he does them right there, and that's that, and everybody peels off, and I guess Alfonso, the boss of that family, the Gambini family, is now he's dead.
Yes, yes.
So then we move to Caesar. Caesar sitting, drinking coffee by his pool in his beautiful, palatial house out on Long Island. Yeah. And he's reading the headlines of Alfonso's murder.
Yes, yes. And then in walks his wife, who we are introduced to, who is Gina Gershon. I love Gina. One of my favorite roles, she was in Showgirls.
Okay, so let's talk about Gina just for a minute.
I love when she says, "You can paint my nails."
Paint my nails. That was so
dismissive. Oh, it was such a great line in that movie.
If you haven't seen Showgirls before, I highly recommend checking it out. It was a crazy, fun movie. We really loved it. Lisa and I have a lot of history with casinos, and it's a different thing that we have done. So we just love the show, and it is a fun program to watch. Gina Gershon kills it in the show. And when I saw her show up on Gravesend, I got really excited.
Absolutely.
Because she just has a certain stage presence. She has a certain, a certain je ne sais quoi about herself that just is fun to watch.
You can also see her in House of Versace. So.
That's right, House of Versace. A lot of high fashion with her.
Yes. So,
I have a little bit of the scene, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
Let's take a peek.
Hey.
Yeah, here she is.
Right outside his house, right?
And they've got her dressed really well. Her hair,
You know all this?
her
I mean, how many chains is she wearing? Is that one big long
Give it
chain
up in
that's
a
wrapped
second.
a few
You
times?
never have to read your name in the paper like that.
You say that every time something like this happens.
This is the first time I
Of course, it's Chaz Palminteri playing
saw it
the
on
role
the
of
news.
Caesar. He's the boss of Benny's family.
Was killed. I guess no one's ever safe, no matter what your position is.
Well, you can get hit by a car, God
Feeling
forbid,
nervous.
crossing the street.
I don't cross many streets, Caesar. I'm driven everywhere. We're not in
I love
Queens
that. I don't
anymore.
cross many streets.
You want to go back there?
No,
No.
that's not what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
She's worried.
You know, things went so bad when they were a
She's
little
worried
more
about
simple.
him. And, there's a lot of tension going on in the families, and she can feel it as well. So there's a lot of worry about that.
And then she talks about her son, Polly,
Yes.
and how she hasn't heard from her son in 2 days. And an Italian son needs to call their mother every day.
That's true. I mean, my mom's half Irish. I gotta call her. Half Italian, half Irish. I gotta call her every day.
And she explains that she doesn't want him in the life, and that he's spending more time being involved in the restaurant as well as the same extracurricular activities as dad. So more to come on that. So next scene, we see Mikey the Hat playing cards at the yacht club with Benny.
That's right. Yep. And they're talking about Alfonso.
The murder. Yes. And he said that, that he was sure that Mad Dog was on that job.
Yeah, and actually, Mikey the Hat brings up. He said, there was like a rift in the family, right? There was a divide in the family.
He says, doesn't that sound familiar?
Yeah, a little familiar, right? And then even Benny mentions it. He goes, "We can't do anything until I talk to Charlie."
Yes.
So again, we're talking about Caesar and what people want done with Caesar.
Yeah. And then Mikey brings up his nephew Sammy and the fight that he had at the roller rink again, and how the security guards really left him banged up and bruised.
It's not like Mikey. I was wondering if Mikey the Hat was asking permission to go beat up the security guards, but then he kind of got the buy-in from Benny saying that Sammy's a good kid.
Yes.
And then he goes, and that's what happens when these juice heads, they do the steroids and they think they're untouchable.
Yeah.
Kind of gave him a look. So I think that Mikey the Hat says, okay, good, we're going to go beat the crap out of him.
Yeah. So. Saying people who think they're untouchable, that means go touch them. So, so the next scene, Big Rocco.
Oh, that Big Rocco comes in.
And Big Rocco. I have to say, you look really great in that suit. You look great with that gray shirt.
Yes,
and
he
the,
does. He's
and
got the
glasses.
He's got some aviators on. He's got the
so
nice,
stylish. You look like you work out, Rocco.
Yeah. And he's got the nice handkerchief.
Yeah,
and
he looked really good in that scene. But he comes
good,
in and
but
he's
he brings
distraught.
bad news. He looks good, but he brings bad news.
Yeah, he's distraught. And Benny says, "Tell me something good." And he says, "Benny, they gave him 13 years."
13 years. And then Benny says, 13 years. And he doesn't say F you. And he didn't say anything. He just gets up and walks away. And then he walks down to the dock and he leans back and he starts having some memories of him and Chris. And one of the memories he had was back to the 18th Street feast. And when Chris was saying, this is our neighborhood.
Yes.
Isn't this great? And, I know it really affected Benny because, like Benny, he's not going to see
Those
Chris.
times are over now. Yeah.
And often when situations like this, when a guy goes away like Chris, you just can't go in and see him. You have to be put on a list, and there's only so many people that can be on that list at a time. So Benny knows he's not going to see Chris for a while, and he's probably not going to put his name on the list.
Sure.
Or I don't know, maybe he is. I don't know.
Well, Benny, he said he loved Benny like a son, so you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. That relationship was hopefully strong. So, all right, next scene, we're back at the Telva house, and we see Tina Telva laying in bed, kind of hugging her
We're all going
wedding
through,
photo.
Yeah, we're all going through the
emotions,
the emotion
and the
of Chris being
upset.
gone.
Yeah, and then you see his daughter, Rosemarie. She's crying, listening to her Walkman.
And that scene is really cool, Lisa. She's listening to that. It's like a little yellow Walkman.
Yeah, the yellow one were those were the waterproof.
You could go in the water with it, and the color of her looks really good, right? Because her bedspread has the same color of her eyes, and then it goes with
the pink, and she's got the pink.
Yeah, it looks really good. It looks really good.
The pink jumpsuit. Yeah.
And it's just we all kind of get this, like everyone's in mourning, right?
Yeah.
Like the crew's in mourning,
Everyone's
the
upset.
family's in mourning. Yeah, well, they thought he was going to beat it.
Yeah.
They thought he was going to beat it. So I mean, a lot of heartbreak is right.
Yeah.
So at 8:02 in the timeline, Lenny's Pizza, we get there, and we meet with Josephine, and it's Josephine sitting down with Tommaso and Benny, and I have a little bit of it here, so let's take a quick look at it.
Yeah, this scene's interesting.
I like Josephine, how she comes across here.
Josephine?
What happened is my brother's in the hospital. He's got a broken leg
She's talking
and
to
4 broken
Tommaso
ribs.
more so than who's her husband.
Did he see who did it?
No, Benny, they had masks on. What I don't understand is that you're supposed to be family and you allowed this to happen,
We didn't
Tommaso.
allow anything, Josephine.
We're ready to sell the pizzeria.
That's fucking crazy.
What's crazy is that people actually think that the so-called mafia is what keeps the neighborhood safe. Give me a break. You know what, Benny? I really thought that you were going to have a stronghold on this.
I mean,
Don't talk to
No.
us that way.
Saying?
Listen, I'm sorry, okay?
She
I'm
backs up.
sorry.
She says she's
but
sorry.
If you see what my brother looks like, you know why I feel this way.
And Benny says, we understand. So she's 100% right? Because Benny and Tommaso kind of gave Lenny their word, right? And Tommaso said, I'm giving you my word here. You're going to be okay. We've got you. And that's what Josephine, I really thought you had a stronghold on this. I thought you had a handle on this. And right now, Benny goes outside with Tommaso and they have a little talk about it.
Yeah,
and
Tommaso apologizes again for her, how she spoke. But again, he said she's right.
She's right, and he knows it. So this is kind of like, so in this episode, like as we saw Benny come back to Brooklyn a couple of episodes, he was really trying to do everything. He's buying all the ice cream. He's being the man. He's telling, Rosemarie and Tina that Chris is coming home and all of this stuff. He's going to beat the case. And now in this episode, all of that shit fell apart.
Yeah, right. The whole thing's crumbling.
It really is. And he's doing his best to kind of contend with, he's the one holding the ball right now on all of this.
Yes. So the next scene opens to Mikey the Hat, Vic, and another gentleman who we have to learn who his name is, because he was also in the scene where Iggy.
That's right.
Iggy shot the man that was messing around with that guy's wife. But those three are walking into a gym. and they're about to go greet that security guard.
Oh, that's right. I don't have this here, but they go in. Vic's there, our buddy Rocco, and they go in and they beat the. I mean, he takes a 45 plate and cranks him right on the kneecap.
Right on the kneecap.
Right, 'cause
That didn't feel
He
good.
was doing bench, and they beat the crap out of him.
Oh, they
And
hit him with a blackjack.
Mikey the Hat uses a blackjack, and I haven't. You know what? A fucking blackjack is a serious thing. I don't know if you guys know what it is. It's a double leather handle piece that in the center of the leather has lead in it, and so it's kind of it. I mean, you could break your hand by slapping your hand with it, and he fucking tees off with that blackjack, and he says, "If I have to come back here again, you won't even be able to lift your dick to take a piss." I mean, they just beat the crap out of him.
Yes. So hopefully they won't have to be back there for that guy's sake. So. Next scene, we have this one. It's an overview. Benny is talking to Tina Telva and Rosemary in their house. Rocco is with them on the sofa.
It's almost a sad scene. Here, let's take
It really is. There's a lot of emotion.
How hard this is for you both. Just know that we will always be there for you. And Chris, he's built like a 20-year-old. Very strong. He will 100% walk through that door again.
Well, Benny, I was really planning on my father walking me down the aisle someday. At the bar, when you seen me, you said he was gonna come home and beat the case. What
Like I said,
happened,
Benny
We
is-
thought he was out on
Do
a
you know
limb
what it
saying
was
that
like for me in
initially.
that courtroom, watching my father being pulled
Gabriella
off with a
Palminteri does a
13-year
great job.
sentence?
Yeah, she
Benny was
really
just
does.
trying to make you feel better, Rosemary.
Yeah, well, it was you too, Mom. You both didn't need to lie to me to get my hopes up. I'm sorry. I just gotta go upstairs to my room right now.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Sophia Milos is a
It's
great
all right.
job.
We understand. And I didn't just say that to make you both
And then he
feel
says, "I
better.
didn't just say that to make you
Lawyers
feel better.
felt
The lawyers
strong
really
that they
thought
would win the
they were going to
case.
beat the case." And that's when,
Chris
and
had
then
wanted a
Tina
different
says,
law
"Well,
firm
Chris
to
didn't like
represent him.
who he."
Yeah,
who
Chris
he
wanted
had.
to
Yeah.
have different attorneys put on, and he wasn't in favor because Caesar, if you recall, Caesar was taking care of the attorneys for Chris Telva, and Benny's response to that is, "Well, it's too late for that.
Yeah, we can't
now."
change that
So,
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can't change that now.
So at 12:45 in the timeline, we're back in Philadelphia, back in South Philly, and it's a really cool scene in the beginning. I think it's 80s Empire that plays the song Legacy in the very
Yes,
beginning.
yes.
Oh, man, I love that
That's
song.
a great song.
And it comes down into South Philly, and it looks really good. It's kind of like almost a blue hour, and the lights are on, and they have little Geno's and Pat Steaks shot there.
Makes me hungry.
And then Remo, of course, played by Tony Luke Jr. Happy birthday this week. And Nikki Sesta, of course, played by Armand Asante. And Baldy by Steve Martirano are all sitting around. And Big Frankie comes in, who's played... do I have that? No, I don't have. Who's played by Big Frankie? Here, let's watch the scene.
Not good, Nicky.
Why?
Bad. He's still upset.
Oh, yeah.
He's
And
still upset.
so Nikki's got a Band-Aid on his
We
nose,
all
and you're
talk
wondering what the hell
cheesesteak,
happened.
right? I mean, not one, but two cheesesteak joints right across the
And
street.
here
But I gotta bang my heads
enters
together.
Fran.
I gotta tell you, though, I like Tina's
She
best.
plays
Primo, what do you
Rosa
want, Mr.
Sesta.
You know
Rosa
best.
Sesta. That's
Talk
Nikki's
about this all the
sister.
time.
Are you nuts? Are you crazy?
Look at her. She steals this scene.
Yeah, she does.
Upon entry, she's fabulous. You know, Fran Drescher, one of her most famous roles is as the nanny.
Go Rose.
Hold on.
Looking
So
terrific.
Baldy's like, "Hey, Ro, you're looking good." And then Nikki goes, "Don't you hit on my sister."
Bye, gentlemen.
Please.
Jesus Christ, what happened to your face?
These two together, unbelievable.
Go in the shower.
So how's Florida then?
Well, you know, if you
So
come by,
I'm going to stop the scene and
see
we
the
can
little
move on
house
to the
at
next one
Boyana
after
Beach?
this. So they talk a little bit about that Nikki bought a house for Rosa down in Florida, and he's like, if you ever came to the house I bought you, you would see how nice it is down there.
Yeah,
And
she says she doesn't like to leave the neighborhood. She's a good Philly girl, and she wants to keep an eye on the neighborhood for him.
And she starts to bring up Dominic in this scene, who we're going to talk about soon.
Yes.
We're going to learn about him. And she says, Dominic's got
I'm
guys.
worried about his
His
crew.
crew's getting bigger every night at his club, and he's putting things together, and I'm watching things. And then she brings up, we get a little bit of backstory about Nikki Sesta, and I just want to talk about it. They talk about his wife dying. And she goes, maybe you don't want to be here since I forget what they use as the wife's name. And they says,
Josephine.
Since Josephine has been gone, you haven't want to be here. And he goes, I don't know, it's the house. And then she goes, well, it's not just the house. I think it's the whole neighborhood. And so you kind of get a little bit of backstory about Nikki, why he's down in Florida. So maybe it's a very personal thing for him.
Sure. All right, next scene. we're at
It
about
says,
16.
16 minutes. Benny pulls up in the Grand National to meet Davy B. Do we have? We do. Here,
We
take a
do
look.
have this. I love any scene with Davy B.
What's the matter,
You
Dave?
can tell he's from Florida in his white
I got
pants.
some bad news out of
They got a
Florida.
nice tailored blazer.
What?
He looks great. But he's not
It's
smiling
Ronaldo,
in this
Betty.
one.
He's in the hospital. What happened? He had a stroke. Fuck. It's the stress. That fucking Caesar on Long Island, he doesn't stop every day. The messaging back and forth
wait
to
for
Florida.
this.
Pressing. He's making us fucking crazy. We gotta do something about this
Yeah.
guy, and fast.
I mean, that's a pretty strong. That was like right over the top.
Ronaldo, like a brother.
So
More than you know.
Ronaldo had a stroke
Loves
down
you
in
too.
Florida, and Ronaldo, of course, we know is played by Andrew Dice
Andrew
Clay.
Dice Clay, yeah.
Hey, by the way, Andrew Dice Clay is playing a block away from here in about a week and a half. I hope he stops by and says hi to us.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Come say hello.
come say hi. We'll take the picture. So Davey B tells him Ronaldo had a stroke. Obviously, that's a problem for Benny because Benny was taking orders from Ronaldo still, right? 'Cause
Correct.
That was his
his captain,
right?
yeah.
So now it's an issue.
So the next scene, we see Benny up on the roof, and he is smoking a cigar. And it cuts to a black and white scene, a memory. And we see Chris Tardio, who is Charlie.
Yes.
He pulls up in a beautiful new Chevelle.
What? Lisa knows a car? Come on, it was a beautiful convertible Chevelle SS. Just a freaking monster vehicle. And actually, I do have a little bit of it. We could take a peek.
I like this scene
Yeah,
because
here it
we learn about something.
Yes, that's why we wanted to play it.
Where you going?
Don't
Here's
worry.
Dad. Where are
I'll
you
be
going?
home soon, Dad.
Immediately concerned.
So we don't
Charlie-
see if his dad waved back.
No, Charlie waves, and yeah,
Yeah, nice ride.
he stands there.
Thank you. How you doing, kid?
I love this car, Charlie.
Yeah, me
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's really fast.
Oh, it's real fast, all right. That's what they call muscle cars.
Yeah, I know. Why don't you have the top down?
When I go for a ride in the country, I take the top down. Never in the neighborhood. got it?
Never in the neighborhood.
Yes.
Where did we hear that before?
So there we find out why Benny wouldn't let Tommaso put the top
Yes,
down
we
in
always
the
knew he
Eldorado.
must have
Yeah.
learned that somewhere.
And
so.
and we talked about it before. Is it trying not to be boastful, right? Are you not showing off?
Is it a safety
Is
issue?
it a safety issue? I think a lot of it has to do with being flashy and showing off, even though they're in a really super hot car.
Sure,
but no,
sure.
it was good. So I wanted to show that because it gives a little bit of history. Really, a lot of, like I said in the last was the Catch in the Cradle episode. Benny's two men, Lisa. He's Charlie, and he's his dad, and he struggles with both of those identities throughout this series.
Sure. And we also get to learn a little bit more about the struggles that his father has in wanting to protect his son.
Yes.
And realize that he's lost his hold on him to Charlie and the life. So you see that come through just by the look on his face as he's standing at the door, concerned. All right, now we are back in Miami.
Oh yeah, there's a little quick shot, kind of a little establishing
we're
shot.
back in
a way.
Florida at Mimi's Deli.
So this is
And,
this is Benny's Deli down in Florida, and we got Mario and Petey, and Mario kind of is taking charge at the deli. If you don't notice.
Yeah. He says, tell the other guy to get those orders out, and he does.
And it's funny. Okay, really good. So I the reason that I think it's interesting to talk about it is it's starting to show that Mario's really stepping up down there.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's paying attention to everything, and maybe Petey doesn't have his eyes on it. Maybe his mind's somewhere else.
Sure. And what's interesting about that is Petey's been on the block a lot longer than Mario. If
Yes.
you remember when everyone's introduced at the pool, it's we have. Sorry, that guy just distracted
Yeah, whatever.
me. That was
We're
good.
doing the Italian Today show here at TGP podcast studio, and you never know what happens outside. If you get bored of watching us, just watch what's going on behind us because there's a lot of shit going on. Last time we had fire engines. We'll see what happens today.
So all I was saying is that Mario is the new kid on the block, and Petey's the one that is slowly losing his grip. So we'll see.
So the next scene, we're at the Tremaldo restaurant. This is Caesar's big restaurant.
Yes.
We've got Caesar and Donnie Glasses. Of course, Donnie's played by Vincent Pastore. Hey, Vincent liked one of our pizza things on the internet. I was really happy to see that. Thank you, Vincent. So anyway, they're talking all about what they're going to do about Ronaldo and Benny. And actually, I have some of it, and this is like, this scene to me is very telling because Donnie's the Consigliere, and Caesar's already got his plan. He already has. He doesn't even care what Donnie has to say.
Yeah, Caesar is not very open-minded. He's very much a controlling boss.
He has control issues.
Rose, that's all right. That's all right. Leave that.
I just want to say they're rude to the
All
waiter.
right.
They're just like, whatever. You know, I know he owns the restaurant and
We got
stuff,
a
but, you
real
know,
situation.
most times people are
Ronaldo
still
had a
nice to the
stroke.
waiter.
Yeah.
You know what
don't
I
wanna-
mean?
yeah.
He's like, oh, I order rosé.
Came back from the doctors to see how bad it is.
Well, with Chris doing 13 years and Ronaldo out of commission, we need to see who's going to be Benny's captain now.
These two do come off as pretty crotchety, so
know.
I'm not surprised there.
But I like Donnie at least because at least
I
he
don't
speaks a
think
little
you
bit of
like
wisdom.
what Caesar, yeah.
See, I don't think you're going to like what I have to say.
There's no way I'm bumping him up to captain.
And he already knows what's going to be
Look
said.
what's going on with the Gambinis.
I mean,
Their boss Alfonso, he gets
And then he
whacked to
brings it up.
Staten Island. And now Tato's stepping up. You know the Genesis and the Levantos are going to raise hell. You know, they're going to come down hard, and I think we should too.
Tato needs his ego to be put in check.
Well, the reason for the friction with this kid Benny is because he feels shunned. We got to give him something. We got to show him some support. You know, that's going to make him happy.
He's right.
If we
He's
absolutely
right.
right.
The whole crew.
Win, but do we
He
really
knows
need
it's
to
time.
go down that road again?
I mean, do you hear what I'm saying? All right? It's not a good time right now. And I'll decide
Okay.
who I put in with Benny as captain.
So what we don't show in here is Donnie brings up Charlie cutting out of college. And then Caesar says, let me worry
Let
about
me worry
that.
about
So, okay,
that.
let's talk about this for a second because this is a rotten fucking scene. Okay, I'm sorry to use the F-bomb so much. I got to back that off a little bit. I use a lot of it in the show. Here's the thing that I see here. Number one, Donnie is speaking truth, right? He's telling him you got to bump up Benny, you got to give them some attention, and you've got to decide what's going to happen with Charlie. Caesar's going to kill Charlie. Clearly, when he was like, let me worry about him.
Let me worry about it. Yeah, that's death is imminent.
And then when he goes against him he's like, you know, do you hearing what I say? It's not a good time. So what that means is I'm making moves about this whole thing. And then he says, I want you to hit the streets. I want you to see who's really with us.
Right, who's with us?
So I'm going to make a prediction right now. I'm going to go out on a fucking limb. I want to go out on a limb. I might be wrong here, but I'm going to say that Donnie Glasses is going to become a partner with Benny in Caesar's death.
Oh, you think he's going to side
I think he's
up?
going to be in on it. But I don't know. We're going to find out.
And we're also introduced to Caesar's son for the first time, who his name is Paulie, and he is played by Johnny Olivia.
Yes.
And he is a new character that we meet here. Johnny is known, he's both had some films, and he is from theater. He was known for What's Up, Morons, Manhattan South, and I think one of his theater roles was French Waitress. So great to see Johnny.
He's got a pretty heavy role in this. You know what I mean?
He's
like,
Caesar's son.
He's like trying to fill the legacy. We're going to talk about it. We don't want to give it away.
Yes, we'll talk about that in a moment. So
21:45 on the timeline. We're back in South Philly. And
Yes.
this is a great scene, and I want to talk a little bit about it. You and I laugh at this scene so much. We're introduced to Dominic, right? This is the antagonist for Nikki Sesta in South Philly, and his character is played by Gary Pastore.
Oh, Gary, you do such a great job in
Gary,
this role. I
you
love
are-
it. So believable.
So when
Oh
we
my
looked up his
God.
filmography, I was blown away.
I couldn't believe all of the movies that and just the projects he's been on.
He was in The Irishman, right? He was in Bronx Tale.
Bronx Tale, Goodfellas. He was in The
Sopranos.
Sopranos. I think I saw that he had an appearance on The Deuce.
He was on The Deuce.
Yeah.
I love The Deuce.
Yes,
It was a great
The Deuce
show.
is a great show. He's also a stuntman.
I mean, come on.
I'm just like...
Did I see that he did set dressing as well?
Yes, he did set dressing.
Gary, is there anything you don't do?
I know. I know.
and
Jack
this
of
is-
all trades.
This is one of the fun things about the Talking Gravesend podcast, gang, is that we're uncovering new characters and new actors for you to follow. I mean, I had no idea about Gary until this show.
Yeah, he was in
And-
The Irishman.
And then once you start digging in, you're like, wow, I love this guy.
Yeah.
And he's amazing in this scene. So let's talk about the scene, let's watch the scene. Then we'll
Yes.
talk more about it.
Yes,
Can you
yes.
tell we're excited about Gary's?
No, but I love it because I'm reminded of actors and actresses that I forgot I loved so much in all of these different
And he
roles.
jacks a truckload full of Flintstone vitamins. I mean, fuck me, huh?
There we go. Dominic Ferrata. Dominic the Hammer.
Can this guy ever get it right? Why can't he tell me he jacked a truck full of TVs, VCRs, camcorders, stuff I can move? Oh, Flintstone vitamins. What the fuck am I going to do?
I just wanted to say for
He
a second.
sounds so high-strung.
What the fuck am I going to do with Flintstone vitamins? And I swear to God, I didn't look it up, but this is a fucking, this is a gangster, like, wives' tale, okay? Every community
It's an urban legend.
It's an urban legend. Every community has the story of
the guy that horked the vitamin truck.
who jacked the vitamin. And it's always Flintstone vitamins. It's always, I don't know. I mean, is this a true story or is this just one of those things that we've always heard all the time? But
10 million strong and growing.
I thought it was, it was funny. Dominic starts talking to the guys. He's talking about the casinos that was going on. If you remember, Nikki was talking to Remo about getting over to Newark to straighten out the 2 licenses that were happening down in Atlantic City. Pretty fucking please, do it today. And then now Dominic's talking about it. He goes, everybody's laughing at us because he hasn't signed off on everything that's going on. And it's the 2 Trump casinos. I was wrong on the casinos, the 2 Trump casinos.
The 2 Trump casinos.
And then he says he's drinking the coffee and he says, between the stress and this coffee, I'm going to shit myself.
The delivery of that line, it's such a vulgar line, but it's funny as hell,
Gary,
man.
you cracked us up. I think we had to rewind it and watch it about 6 times because
like,
the way
oh
you say it is hilarious.
I really thought you were going to shit yourself.
And you know what? That's one of the fun things about Gravesend, Lisa, that I just wanted to just bring up. And one of the inspirations for us doing this show is that it's funny, right? Like, as intense as the show is, you're going to laugh. You're going to cry. You're going to have adrenaline rushes. You're going to do everything that you like to do when you watch programs. So
well,
that's
we're
one of the
also
things.
slightly sick, so we find things funny that maybe the average bear might not find funny.
When Tough Carmine threw that guy off the roof and he
and
landed.
he says, I guess you don't fly, motherfucker.
Come on, that's funny. Is that funny to you?
I think that's funny.
I think the demographic who watches the Talking
Comment
Gravesend
below
podcast
if you found that
thinks
line
that's
funny. Yeah. Let us know. Let us know. And if you're enjoying this video, please go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead and give us a like or
button,
subscribe.
Subscribe. So tell your friends.
22 minutes and 13 seconds on the timeline. We're back at the boatyard or the Brooklyn Yacht Club.
Yes.
And Benny is telling Mikey, the Hat, and Big Rocco about Caesar.
And
having the attorneys drop the ball.
Yes, and that's what we were wondering. Right when I heard that Chris was being taken care of by Caesar's attorneys, I was just like, well, this is a plan destined to fail because, you know, he's not the most supportive.
Got a little bit of it here.
So Chris goes away. We all know that Chris would stay loyal to Charlie when he comes out.
And I'm sure that
everybody knows
that too. They all said Chris was going to beat this case. It's fucked up. Who do you think Caesar's going to name as your captain now that Ronaldo's in the hospital? Just hope they don't give you Iggy.
No, Iggy would not be a good match.
Because Rocco has to answer the race.
Yes.
Does the right thing.
So then he gets a beat from Tina 911. So that's all. Oh boy, here we go.
That's always interesting. So.
And then she starts bringing up that somebody called the house.
Correct.
And that he's got a gumad. He's saying that this girl, that Chris had a girlfriend, that she called the house and she said that it was Tina's fault that Chris went away, which is like a normal line that you hear.
Yeah. And Benny's like, why are you letting these fools get into your head? He's like, this is how the BS starts. You know, people are going to tell lies because he's away. Don't believe these things. And
let's not forget, I'm just going to throw this out there. So I'm going to put it past law enforcement to do something like that, right? To put a call in like that, to get her and to hang up the phone and just to shake her because that's what they're looking to do. So what do you think? Was that you, Agent Morano? Did you make that call? Or was Chris really, you know what I'm saying? Maybe had a little side action.
You never know.
You never know.
know.
And Benny says you should know better to ask me something like that. And Chris, and then he even says, but I'll tell you, no, he didn't. That he was a loyal person. Yep. And then she kind of brings, and I have this. She brings up the Polish kids.
Right. She's like, and what happened to those 2 boys? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
and she's like, if Rosemary finds out what's happening.
What happened to those Polish kids?
And he saw his face right away.
He's like, are you kidding me?
The ones that hit Rosemary in a skating ring. I do know what happened to them. It was all over the news. Benny, thank God Rosemary didn't see it, because she would lose it even more if she knew it had something to do with her.
Sophie is so good.
I really don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking
They
about.
were kids, Benny. I mean, I'm beaten, I can see. Yeah.
And then
But go on
we'll
like
talk about
this, that's another story.
we talked about this, and I think the last episode, we were like, geez, they killed these guys.
Yeah, which was kind of harsh.
And this is what Tina's saying is like, I mean, I could have understood a beating, but you killed them. They were just kids.
They're not even in the lifestyle.
So okay, again, so I'm going to make some speculations here. So, number one, Benny's fucking horrified, and as he should be. And then we don't know. So Benny, she's already been approached by the police, right?
Right, because she even told him that in front of the car when they had the conversation. So he's just like, why are you talking about this? Is she wearing a wire?
Right. Could that be the case?
She wearing
you know what
a
I mean?
wire?
So he was just like, I thought you would have known better to ever bring something up like that.
Yeah, he even takes his glasses off just so they could have some eye contact. So there's no misunderstanding.
There's no miscommunication in that. No, it's really interesting. And Sophia Milos and William DeMeo, in my opinion, Lisa, have some very, very intense chemistry together inside of these scenes. So I really was really intense. Oh, this is a fun scene. So we've got some things to talk about. 27 minutes and 13 seconds.
Yeah. We see Sammy. Sammy is stepping up with the crew.
Yes, so there's a bit of a J cut where you hear an audio from something else and then you see something. So it's Benny's voice saying to Mikey the Hat, Mikey, it's time Sammy and his crew step up and make Jimmy Beans' crew pay for what they did to Lenny.
Yes.
And then we get to see. So I want to, do we want to watch this and then talk about it, or do we want to talk about it and watch it?
All right, let's watch it.
Okay.
And then I want to see if you're thinking what I'm thinking.
It's time your nephew Sammy and his friends stepped up. Jimmy Beans and his crew got to pay for what they did to Lenny.
And Vic.
There goes those fucking scumbags.
Sammy, you go that way. Robert, you come.
Hold on.
Vic has a line.
Vic gets a line. Great delivery, Vic. Come
Rocco
on.
Emilio.
This poor guy, all he does is hit
line.
people with weights, look mean, open up doors. He finally gets a line. And I like that Benny or Mikey sent Vic in to kind of watch over the guys, right? Because Sammy's not in charge.
No, they're
right?
not
He's
an established crew yet.
He's taking the cue from Vic. So I really like that. Okay.
You guys are playing, huh?
Bam! So this is a really physical scene, choreographed really well. They're all dressed up in black, and let's talk about it.
All right, so the first thing that I thought, and it's interesting that he says, "Oh, you guys are playing, huh?"
You guys are playing, huh?
Yeah, because the first thing I thought was,
Warriors, come out and play.
So, oh my God, I totally
Just the way
thought
they were
that.
dressed, right? That was totally reminding me of the Warriors.
And we see another reference to that a
the
little bit
backdrop.
later.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. So totally got
So
the Warriors
funny.
in that. What a program. And if you haven't seen the Warriors, you got to check it out. It's New York in the 70s. And there's actually a documentary out about it. And it's somewhat true to life, actually, of things that really happened.
Yeah.
I mean, these gangs used to kind of model themselves after biker gangs, actually. So it's kind of fun and interesting part of history.
Yes. So just to see everyone dressed up and
they jam some people up. They leave these guys bloody in the streets.
they were really teed up. I mean, there was a lot of action, a lot
very
of
physical.
energy.
Robert comes in and he's kind of got like this evil look to him, played by our friend Stephen Gregory, and he smashed the bottle over the guy's head. I mean, Nino, everybody puts in some work on the thing. So it was time. They all stepped up.
Yes.
And good job, Vic, for watching out. Made sure everybody did it right. So at 28 minutes on the timeline, we're back in Little Italy on Mulberry Street in New York. And Franco, played by Mario Cantone, is there with Benny. And they're sitting at a dinner at a restaurant. I believe it's Vincent's.
Yes. They're talking about the clothing line.
Yeah, do I have that?
I think you have a couple of moments.
No, I don't actually. So they're talking about it. And what Franco says to Benny is that he loves what they're doing and they want to do a dressy line.
Yes.
With the big collars like the fellas used to wear. And he pulls out like a shirt. And Benny's like, I love it. Let's go with it. And if I'm not mistaken, they're like Franco's partners now with Benny and Brooklyn Brands, and
he's telling me he wants to have the brand go nationwide. So
he brings up a point about nostalgia and how styles always come back because people yearn for the past.
Yes,
and it's a very interesting, I would say, juxtaposition to. Gravesend.
To how life is. They are.
How my wife wants a members only jacket now.
You know
what I mean?
I'm yearning for the past.
The past, and why I like the shows because it reminds me of the past, right? And how I felt as a young man in the past. So kind of an interesting little line there. Nice writing.
Yes, absolutely. So next up, Sammy walks into a bar to meet Mikey the Hat.
Now this one I do have.
Yeah, and Mikey the Hat's giving him basically his numbers book.
Yeah.
Mikey, How you doing? Good. Good.
And you notice the guys at the bar kind of take notice that Sammy's being greeted by
Put
Mikey. This is
together a
obviously
number
his
one
joint.
for you. Really? This list, all these people, you go to see every day. You take the people's numbers and they pay you. If they win, you got to pay them. But the good thing about that is they'll tip you.
Not
This
everybody.
is similar to the lotto, right? Yeah, it's a little like that. It's the track handle, last three numbers. It's in the newspaper every day. Sammy, you're going to make Scott O on this.
Scott
You
O.
get to keep 25% of whatever you take in. Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Thank Benny.
So he tells him to thank Benny
Right.
as well on that. So Sammy stepped up. Now he's got a little numbers racket.
Yeah,
So
and then he gets distracted during the conversation because he sees a group of pretty ladies walk in.
He does, but before we jump into that, 'cause, yeah, Gabrielle is there, Linda's there, all of her friends are
Yes.
there. Chloe Lang is there,
Diane.
Diane, thank you. So they are talking about the numbers, and he mentioned it. He said that it's the last three numbers of the track handle, and it's posted every day in the newspaper. So what that means, gang, is that in New York, the horse track or the dog tracks they post what the handle is every day, and the handle that's like a casino or a gambling term. That is the amount of money that the house takes in one day in wagers. So it's public information, and they print it in the New York papers. Also, if you've ever seen like Hoodlum, they talk about policy. Policy is also a numbers racket, but it's based off of the New York Stock Exchange final. So that way they can never fix the numbers, right? It's a public number that's listed. So if you pick those three numbers, you win.
It reminds me, I'm trying to remember what movie it was in, but there was a little boy that was running numbers based on the number of absences in the school. Do you remember that movie?
No, that you're talking about Saints of Newark.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
that was young
that's
Tony
what-
Soprano
there
was
you
running
go.
a
I was
numbers
like, wait a
racket of
minute,
absence.
yeah.
Yeah, hit the number.
The number, yeah, basing it on the absences.
That's
so.
right. That's right. And then his uncle takes him in. He's like, "You can't be running a numbers game at school." Anyway, Saints of Newark, great. Yeah, we'll talk about that as well.
All right, sorry.
Lisa
I digress.
and I just want to talk about all these shows, right? This is what we do.
We
talk
love 'em-
about.
we
these
love
shows.
'em
We love
all.
'em. So Rosemary and her friends walk in, and then Sammy gets brought over by Mikey the Hat, and he introduces him to the girls, and he says, "Hey, they didn't know you had a nephew."
Yeah, where you been keeping him all this time? And he's like, oh, you don't mind if I just kind of leave him here and you guys can take care of him?
And then I think it's Henry, the little guy who was playing the poker machine. He runs out, and she goes, and one of the girls goes, "Oh yeah, he's smoking dust." So we're talking about this angel dust, and we're going to see a little bit of that, unfortunately, unfold as we go in. And then Linda talks about her dad being in prison, and she just kind of says, our father, that man, nothing bothers him. He's like, he's like on vacation in the Bahamas or something like that. You know what I mean? And just showing how strong that their dads are, and trying to give, I think, Rosemary a little bit of confidence, because Linda is a good friend, right? She wasn't trying to be mean at Ellen Bean Gardens. You know what I mean? It's just she's trying to be a good friend.
Absolutely. She's lived it a little bit more, so she's trying to just tell her everything's going to be okay. You'll get used to it.
So then we're back. It looks like we're
back on Mulberry.
Yeah, we're
Street.
back on Mulberry Street, and we're having a little walk and talk with Johnny Mad Dog, played by Joe D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
And Mad Dog and Benny are talking, and they're all talking. Benny's congratulating him, right? He's like,
you got
congratulations.
bumped up.
You got bumped up to captain, and that's the only thing that was holding me back.
Yeah, the only thing that was holding me back was Alfonso, and where have you heard that before? And Benny looks great in his white capizios. I
right, he's wearing
love
white
it. I'm so
capizios.
styled out. It's his green blazer and his white capizios.
And then he says, Mad Dog says, "It's your turn now, Benny." And just, again, like we talked about in the last episode.
Everyone is egging him on.
Just egging him on. I mean, at this point, the seed has grown into a young sapling in his garden of Caesar's death. It's all going to come to. It's all coming.
Those seeds have been planted. We cut to
Oh, yeah, this
Caesar.
is a quick scene. This is a quick scene.
Caesar in the limousine.
We actually see the politician, John Abrams, come out with, like, his handler, like his assistant.
Yes,
and she's, like,
yes.
giving
They're
him some
talking about
scheduling
moving
changes.
schedules and everything. And Caesar's in the car talking to his son, Paulie, again, played by Johnny Olivia. And Johnny, you steal this scene. I love how jacked up you get. Your body language, when your father says, I want you to kill this guy, your knee starts going.
Yeah.
I could see your heartbeat going. You really get
His
so
mouth,
jacked
his
up.
mouth,
yeah,
everything.
he's
Yeah.
ready. He's got the taste of blood.
Well, he says that because I finally get a chance
finally
to
get
shine.
to shine.
Yeah, and show what I've really got.
Yeah.
So he And Caesar tells him, hey, once you say yes to this, there's no going back.
There's no going
you know
back.
I mean?
And he's like, no, I've wanted this. I've been waiting. And he's really excited. I mean, he's literally almost like drooling as he's looking out the window. It's like, yeah.
So he gets the assignment.
Yes.
And then at 36 minutes, we cut to Jimmy Beans and his crew, and they're making these dip cigarettes. They're sitting in an apartment, and they have a little this and that, and they say that we got to stay out of all the Bazzano parks. I promised Ray Scars that we would do that. And if you go back, Ray Scars, I think that was from season 1 when we covered it, when they had to sit down with Danny Cuccio, and they were talking, and Danny Cuccio accused Benny of being a cokehead, and then Adrian Morano and the guys in the van says, if anyone's Danny Cuccio is a cokehead, and it's those guys who are doing the drugs.
They're the drug dealers there.
No, so then it kind of
all
comes out. I'm sorry. I'm just excited about this.
I know. I am too, so don't worry about it.
And then the guy says to him, and he goes, as long as they stay out of our parks. And he goes, I can't turn this into a beef.
Right, because they're overtly selling drugs, and we're in trouble if we get found out to be selling drugs.
And hey, we keep seeing this guy with Beans, with Jimmy Beans. This guy who's kind of got a bald head. He reminds us of the comedian there. He looks kind of like Bill Burr. His name is Vito. We finally found that out.
Yeah, Vito.
And he's played by Danny Chavone. I hope I said that right, Danny Chavone.
Danny Chavone?
What do you think? Okay, name butcher.
Sorry. Danny, you serve some face.
Yeah,
I love you. You really, your facial expressions, you really do a great job at just being like disgusted half the time. I love when you were sitting next to Jimmy Beans and he's peeling out the money. You're like, you couldn't even look. You had to look to the side. I really like your performance.
So he says, come on, let's get out of here. The kid's coming to pick up the dip. So, they're not selling them. They got other people selling them and they're making them. I told you, they dip them in the formaldehyde.
Yeah.
And then they,
And then one of Jimmy Bean's guys makes a comment about Lenny, and he's like, "Why did we have to beat up Lenny anyways?" And you're gonna see Jimmy Bean's like pissed, just like,
he was
why
like,
are you even
if he wasn't
asking
crying
me
about
this?
the pizzas, we wouldn't be here right
Yeah.
now. Well, maybe if you didn't take the pizzas, I just want to say that because Benny says, we respect your joint, and I actually kind of thought about that. And you know what, Lisa, I'm going to share that. He's right? Like, even if you go to a place, like, you expect to be taken care of, but it's also, like, kind of etiquette to buy everybody at the bar a drink. You know what I mean? To put around. Like, if I went... Anyway, I would see that happen, right? You go to a guy's place,
subtle social decorums.
Things. Yeah, absolutely. So at 38 minutes, Benny's sitting with the guys outside the club, and they're having a talk about what's going on. So let's watch the scene, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, they're out there with Santo.
Me, wondering when I'm moving up to being a skipper. It's frustrating. We all know the answer. We are all part of Charlie's crew. And the last thing Caesar wants is Charlie having more strength.
Caesar knows that clock is ticking.
That's right.
Because when Charlie gets out, at least half the family's going to want to put him on top again. Yeah, but you want to know something, Benny? Made or not made, where's our loyalty? Our loyalty's with Charlie and with you, Benny.
I know that. Just going to be some rocky roads until Charlie comes home.
We still got a situation with one of the Levantos. Which one? Jimmy Beans.
I think Santo calls him a mutt.
Yeah.
He's nothing but a mutt. So this is, once again, we're getting the idea of what's coming, right? But Benny can't do anything until Charlie gets out. So I thought it was interesting, and it's nice that they're sitting around at nighttime having a little this and that outside the club. So then we move to the next scene, which is really fun. Check it out.
You got any siblings, Sandy?
No, I'm an only child.
Well, now you do. Brother's right here.
So let's do this.
So they're on their second job.
So this is Nino and Robert, of course, and Robert's played by Stephen Gregory. Nino's played by Frank Mignano. I almost said that wrong. Probably said it wrong too, Francis, sorry. And here they go. So they light the candy store up. And it's kind of a nice scene where they said they're brothers now. You know what I mean? You give them a little bit of camaraderie. That's what this thing is all about. And we just want to give a quick shout out to Frank. Frank, unbelievable job as Nino. And of course, his mom, Frances, who we just absolutely love. We're going to talk about her again in the next episode. Of course, she sings the title Gravesend song that we just absolutely love. Super powerful. Nino, you do a great job in this scene. And Robert, they're just, they're putting in a little bit of work. At first they beat the guys up. Now they're lighting the place up on fire.
Moving up in the world.
And Lisa, that's it. The show ends with that. Done. They blew up the candy store. We're going to find out there's going to be a lot of repercussions from all of these activities. This was a tough show to write, Lisa, as far as for me for the script.
There was a lot of action, thing to thing, a lot of ends being tied up.
A lot of transitions happening inside of this show. So really a fun episode. We hope you guys enjoyed our coverage of this particular one. And we're going to jump right into episode 7 next.
Yes.
So go ahead. Before we go out, let's do some calls to action, Lisa. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and follow Talking Gravesend Podcast on Instagram and in Facebook. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel and share the episodes, share the content. It helps people find the show.
Absolutely.
And also, if you're listening, we're available on all platforms. Make sure you go ahead and
follow the actual audio podcast on Apple, Spotify. We're all over those platforms.
Leave us a review. It helps people find the show.
Yeah, rate us.
We need some
Give
ratings.
us one of those 5-star ratings.
And then while you're doing all of this stuff, go ahead and follow Gravesend Series. They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook. Follow all of the cast members on Instagram. A lot of fun. And make sure you participate in all the fun that's happening over on our IG page. We're really having a lot of fun.
Definitely.
I said fun too many times.
Fun. Way too much fun.
All right. As always, Lisa.
We'll see you on the streets. Ciao.
Ciao.